Now, before you smash that downvote button and call my opinions dog crap, hear me out. There's a reason to my madness, and I hope you get through this video so you get my point overall. I love Rajang. I just had to say that because I know Rajang's stand number 640,884 is out there right now, writing a whole paragraph trying to obliterate me in the comments. I just don't want him for Monster Hunter Wilds. But hold your horses. It isn't that I don't want Rajang because I think he's a bad monster or anything. After my last video, some people thought I hated him and that's why I didn't want him in Monster Hunter Wilds. That couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, I think Rajang is sick. He's the wall, the golden monkey, the monster super saiyan. It'll take your lunch money and your hose at the same time. It also isn't because I got my ass kicked by him in Iceborne a couple times. Damn it!
Hey, partner.
No! No! Get up! Get up! Get up! You're about to get fucked. Oh!
Hey, partner.
And not even those base Rajang, furious as well. Ah, no! I'm dead. It's simply because I'd rather them highlight new monsters over the old ones. There's definitely monsters who have been around way too often in the series in recent history, but there is something that Capcom could do for me personally that would get me excited for him to come back in Wilds. One thing which we'll get into later on in the video, so stay tuned to the end if you want to know what will make me tingle when it comes to Mr. Monkey Jingle. So, Rajang, a monster that's been around in every game since basically Monster Hunter 4, only missing out World. He was added to the series in the 2nd gen, skipping the 3rd. As we know from lore, he was in transit to Iceborne. He didn't have a cheat code like Devil Joe. Since being added into the series in the 2nd gen, he's always been a tough adversary for hunters to deal with. From Apex Rajang level 140 in Monster Hunter 4U to Special Investigation in Sunbreak. He takes names and leaves hunters bitchless. He has become a fan favorite for his difficulty in the series and often used as a wall to separate the men from the boys. So even though I say this monster is awesome and highlight how many across the Hunterverse want him to return, why is it that I do not? Well, my guy needs a vacation, man. He's been working way too hard. He's been kicking ass since Monster Hunter 4U. Someone give this monkey a holiday. Possibly somewhere sunny where he can enjoy the peaceful life for a minute. Like, come on, man, don't be so selfish. Nah, who am I kidding? I don't think he knows how to relax. Now, I'm a big fan of monsters having a break, taking time off while other monsters are highlighted instead. It's difficult to really understand how the pipeline of monster creation happens. For example, if bringing one monster means we don't get another one in, or how easy is it to port monsters from another HD ready game? And also, will a Gaikus ever get released from his chains? All things we can't possibly know. But to be honest, it's evident for some monsters to return, others get pushed to the side. Otherwise, in every game, we'd have like every monster, like, come on. And for every monster we do get, there's a mountain of others left behind. Personally, I like new experiences. And in this section, we'll go over 3 different ways Capcom can and do use when it comes to refreshing up the monster roster. Number 1, revive old monsters. Number 2, make new monsters. And number 3, revamp old monster fights. I suppose when it comes to Rajang, he hasn't really gone over a full revamp, but it's still largely quite different in the 5th gen than he was in the older games. So for the most part, we'll explore the first 2 points instead. Reviving old monsters is a treat. Seeing monsters you haven't seen in a long time being brought back to life with a new coat of paint is awesome. One fight in particular that did that for me in Sunbreak was the monster Lucian Nagakuga, a monster I've loved since Monster Hunter 3U. He was only in that game, so experiences with him were limited. And when they brought him to Sunbreak, he was glorious. It was a great event for the fanbase, and a great fight to go along with him. And I'm imagining this is something they're also planning when it comes to Molten Tigrex, another fan favorite. But for that one, we have to wait and see. Another monster they brought back that got me super excited was Valstrax. Even though it was only one entry he missed out on. Bringing him back in a new form and as a variant was an interesting touch. Capcom gave themselves room to mix up how the fight plays in comparison to the regular Valstrax from Generations. And man, it was awesome to see.
Oh no, I'm scared, Wait.
No! No! No way! No way! I knew it! Yes! Fucking let's go! Let's fucking go! I knew it!
way! No way!
And if Valstrax didn't miss World and Iceborne, that reaction wouldn't have been possible. Having gaps for monsters to come out of the series and come in can really raise the anticipation for all of the fans. Next, new monsters, which I think we can all agree on is super exciting. Waiting to see what Capcom have in store for us is always a treat, and it's important for the series to keep progressing. Well, to be honest, I said there's 3 ways they could handle this, but there's actually 5, which we'll get into in later parts in the video. There's a thing I like to call monster archetypes, categories monsters fit into to serve a purpose for the game they're in. I haven't completely rounded out this concept yet, but I'll explain what I mean by it. You have things such as the starter monster. These are monsters such as the Great Jagras, the Great Jaggi, Great Izuchi, and the almighty Great Macau, who is a freaking beast for a star monster, by the way. Like, Capcom, what are you thinking? If you pick up GU and fight that guy, trust me, you're in for a painful ride. He's on crack or something. Like, goddamn, Capcom. These monsters are used to ease the player into the games, helping newer players understand what combat feels like overall. Next, the flagships, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows about by now. These are monsters such as Rathalos, the Gycaris, or Brachydios, monsters that are highlighted within the entry to the series, often brought back to carry on the legacy of those games into the future. Next, an interesting one for me, the Tech Monster. They are monsters that force the user to play differently in the games. You typically need to bring a certain skill to make the fights easier, or the monsters themselves are used to teach a certain game mechanic. So think of monsters such as Nightshade or Almudron. If you don't have the right skill, you're gonna have a bad time. These monsters are important throughout the process of the games, and often change game to game. Next, the in-game bosses, which I'm pretty sure we all know about. Monsters such as Elachion in Tri, or Primordial in Sunbreak, or Fatty himself when it comes to World. These monsters put the hunter to the test after a long journey throughout the game, for them to show everything they've learned up to that point. A very important part of a hunter's journey. Next, we have the Invader, a monster who likes to roam about and interrupt the hunter like they are younger sister or something. Monsters such as Devijo and Bazugis. And lastly, the Wall, a monster with a high difficulty ceiling which can stop a player in their tracks, either throughout their journey or nearer to the end of it. It's important for the series to have universal difficult fights because they build memories throughout the fandom. Side note, one fight I would never forget myself was the demo Magnamalo. The difficulty in that quest left a long lasting memory, solidifying him in my top 5 monsters of all time. Stay tuned for a video on the full list in the future. All these types play an important role in Monster Hunter, and I'm sure there are more I could have came up with. Also, it's good to point out these aren't isolated. An endgame boss can also be a wall, or an invader can also be a tech monster. One example for me is Narwa, who is an endgame boss but is also a tech monster, as you need to know how to use a Y-bug to deal with the battle. The more Capcom plays with this dynamic, the more interesting fights we'll have on our hands. And when it comes to the wall in recent history, I think we're lacking in monsters in that department. Instead of relying on Rajang as a pillar in that domain, more monsters need to be added to rival that status. Think about the invader. The poster boy of that realm is Devijo, the T-Rex mofo from Tri. But imagine if going into World, Capcom decided they weren't going to make Bazugis, but instead just rely on Devijo to fill the role in the base game. We'd miss out on the experience of the Kamikaze drive-by plane himself. Luckily, they added both of them, but personally, I think it would be nice going into Wilds if they focus on someone newer to fit that mechanic. One random idea I had was bringing back Monoblos, a monster I haven't thought much of. I imagine when people think about him, they also compare him to Diablos. But a new cool thing could be bringing him back as an invader, a monster who would dig around at high speeds across the map to hunt down the hunter. Now that would be awesome. That would separate him from Diablos, bringing back an old monster, and adding more to the invader archetype all at the same time. And on top of that, we'll have an invader from sky, an invader from land, an invader from underground. Come on, that's sick. And if you like the idea, drop down a like and subscribe, write down a comment of your idea of an invader, a possible invader Capcom could bring back or make new for Monster Hunter Wilds. I love to read what you guys have to say. Anyway, when it comes to the Wall and Rajang, Capcom could either bring back an old monster either from the main series or from Frontier and juice them up for the game ahead, or they can make a new monster fill in that role. But there's also a fourth option, like I was hinting at before, just doing both. Similar to Devijo and Bazugis, they can still have Rajang but focus on other monsters as well to fit in the role that Rajang fills. And hopefully Rajang doesn't overshadow them. That way you can have your cake and eat it too. But to be honest, I never really got that saying, because I mean, what's the point in having a cake if you can't eat it? Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't even really like cake. And now finally, the 5th point. The thing if Capcom does, as I was saying before, will get me super excited. Something I've been thinking about for the longest of times. A Rajang variant. Either a subspecies, rare species, it doesn't matter to me, but something. I am actually surprised that monsters like him, who have been around since the 2nd gen, are yet to have even one variant since their inception. Yes, there have been others in Frontier, such as Rajang, but in the main series, we've had nothing. I seriously think if they want to bring Rajang into Wilds, they should add something new to him. They can go down the Crimson Glow route like they did in Rise with Valstrax. His inclusion to the series set a new precedent that we can have some of the old, but in a whole new style. And seeing the Gold Monkey evolve into something new would make for a hell of a ride. Well guys, that's all got for you today. Let me know what you think down below, comment down below, like, subscribe, support your boy if you're interested in watching more Monster Hunter content or Yu-Gi-Oh or any gaming related stuff. Stick around, I like to do that. This weekend I'm going to be streaming, fighting a Latium for my first time in Iceborne. I fought him a lot in Tri, 3U, 4, Gen, all that stuff. But I've never fought him in Iceborne. This is my first time, so stick tuned for that. But yeah, I'm really interested in what you guys think, Rajang. I do like Rajang, he's a cool monster, but I do want other monsters to be highlighted. That's what I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything crazy, I don't think, but I guess some people take things and they take it quite hyperbolic, I guess. But it is what it is, to each their own. Yeah, guys, if you want to support your boy, there's always memberships down below. If you want to, send your boy a super chat or anything like that, come to the streams, hang about. I always would appreciate that. As you're coming to Wilds, a lot of stuff is coming up, and I got a lot of exciting things for all of you guys that I want to cover. So yeah, that's it for me today, guys. I'll catch you next time. See ya.